Hey guys, I wanted to come in here and talk about this situation with these swirlers, look, it gets so redundant talking about the stupidity and the self-hating mindset of these swirlers, because to be honest, at this point, I really don't care what happens to them. I gotta be honest, I really don't care. And the reason I don't care is because it's evident to me that Black people have a learning disability. It really just is. And I just did a story on, you probably already saw the one about the cognitively impaired man. Really, at this point, we need to just accept and acknowledge the fact that Black people have an extreme learning disability. And people want to make excuses for them, and people want to sit there and say, no, we just need to unite. How do you unite with this? You can't unite with a group of people who have been for hundreds of years and still are laying up with their oppressors to their detriment. There isn't a Black person, man or woman, who should believe that it is okay to date one of these demonic entities. I don't care what the reason is. So I'm trying to figure out why I'm looking at a situation in the midst of a swirling movement where, once again, you have a white spouse murdering the Black one. And you can forget about any type of justice on this one. And I'm feeling like maybe they don't need to get justice. I can't even be mad at this point now, because it's like the stupidity of these people is irking me. And I don't want to get irritated like that. But it said the Dallas woman kills her husband for beating the family cat. Now, for it to have come to that, can you imagine what this man had to have been allowing for her to feel like it's okay to even get up and do something physical to him? That's what I'm saying. I'm not seeing the victim here. I'm not seeing anybody as a victim except me for having to read such a dumb story like this, because the bottom line is Black people are not going to learn. They're going to continue to be with their oppressor to their detriment. They're going to sit up here and still think they have a savior, yet the only people who they really want to be their savior is these white people. And that's what's going to continue to happen. When you have somebody that look like this bold enough to murder you, that's a problem, because why was you with her to begin with? Now, I'm going to go into a video clip really quickly, and then I'll come back with some commentary.
Of a Northeast Dallas woman accused of murdering her husband. She told police the reason she shot him had to do with their pet. Our Aaron Jones, live from the neighborhood now, where it happened. Aaron.
Dan, police say this all appears to be over the family cat. We now know tonight that the suspect is 47-year-old Mary Harrison. Police say just before 7 a.m. they were called to her house because they had learned that she was accused of shooting and killing her husband. Police say Harrison said she did it because her husband had been beating their cat. The husband was taken to the hospital but didn't make it. Police who live next to the couple say the two recently moved to the neighborhood with their two kids. They say the wife never seemed capable of murder.
Like, they were some good people. They didn't bother nobody, They was friendly. For a man to get shot over a cat, I don't know. That's kind of crazy.
And tonight, Harrison has been booked into jail. Her bond has not been set. Reporting live in Northeast Dallas, Aaron Jones, CBS 11 News.
Aaron.
Do y'all see how retarded this is? Like, we sitting up here looking at an ugly, disgusting struggle gene demon, and I'm going over a story about how she murdered her clearly self-hating Black husband, and then you got this Black man on here talking about, oh, they seemed nice, they were always polite, as if y'all don't know that these people been doing that for centuries now. So this is the thing that irks me, really. And I don't want to sit here and go in on Black people like this, but like, how many hundreds of years do you need to be around a demon to recognize a demon and know that it's only going to produce demons? Like, I just don't get it. And the fact that she's carrying on because she knows her white privilege is about to kick in, and she knows about the fact that Black lives don't matter because they don't matter to Black people, and Black people don't make them matter, and Black people don't have any standards or any accountability or anything like that. She already knows that. So, of course, she can voluntarily waive her rights. She can admit to killing them because she already knows the society that we live in. She knows that the number one thing that Black people are desperate for is white approval. And she knows that that man was with her because he wanted white approval, and it resulted in his death. And I really do feel like this is something cosmic at this point. I really do. I feel like it's something cosmic at this point. Because maybe the universe is saying that these people who are too stupid to date them, they need to be dead anyway. That could be a possibility. I don't know. I don't run the cosmic balance in the cosmic industry. So what I will say though is that if I can see it, and people are speculating that God somehow wants to eradicate these entities off the face of the earth, how is it that they can't see that they would have to be eradicated too? Because recently I've been covering so many different swirling gone wrong stories, and I have another one to go over too. Because it appears that this is the only outcome, the only eventual outcome when it involves a union between a black woman or a black person and a white person, regardless. Because it's not just a man that's going through this, it's the black woman that's going through this too. You just see more cases of black men going through this because black men interracial date more. But ultimately, the outcome is still the same. But because of the fact that black people's learning disability doesn't allow them to see pattern recognition, they refuse to do it. Because any other entity or species in their right mind, if all they kept seeing was these interracial unions leading to this, never mind the fact that these are the descendants, immediate descendants of the people who were just 50 years ago raping and torturing and hanging your ancestors, never mind the fact that that should right there show black people all they need to. That's not enough. You're sitting in a system of white supremacy where you're picking your mates out of the group of people who are murdering you. That's like me going to a murderer in a rapist convention and trying to find my husband there. Like, which one am I going to pick? Am I going to pick this serial killer, or I'm going to pick this rapist over here, or which one am I going to pick? That's what black people are doing. Because anytime you go and find your mate within the community that's oppressing you, that makes you an idiot. And then some can speculate that maybe you deserve the outcome that's occurring now. It says a woman has been accused of shooting her husband to death because he was beating the family cat, according to police. Now, obviously, how was she accused when she confessed? Why is that sentence not saying a woman has confessed to shooting her husband to death because he was beating the family cat? Again, why is she even bold enough to do this? Can you imagine how passive this man was in this situation with her? I think we've seen many a video about how passive these black men are. This is why I say not only do these swirling black men submit to white women, they submit to white women too. Police say that Mary Harrison, a 47-year-old demon in Dallas, was taken into custody after her husband, Dexter, died of gunshot wounds at an area hospital Sunday. Ms. Harrison told police on the scene that she and her husband had been arguing and that he had been beating the family cat, according to a police report. She later voluntarily waived her rights at the police headquarters and told police that she was the one who shot her husband. So why are they saying that she was accused rather than she confessed? The suspect was transported to Jack Evans' headquarters, where she reported that she shot her husband as he was beating the family cat, a statement from police read. She has been charged with murder and was still in police custody as of Sunday. She had a $100,000 bail. Now, I don't know what this has any relevance, but it says, man unaware he is about to be shot in the back of the head, saved after the gun jams. So they're telling you right here that not only is this story not worth the talking about, they're going to add 3 additional stories that have nothing to do with it in the same thing. That's how insignificant black people are rendering themselves. They would take this stuff more serious. They would give it a consequence if they knew that there was going to be a consequence from the black community. If they knew that upon anything happening to the black community, that they were going to take some economic falls from every Black person in this country, how likely is it that they will be allowing these things to happen? They would be providing you protection from that if you were to use your power. But the reality of it is, the reason why Black people can't is because their mentality and their psychology isn't conducive to wielding power that they have. Because you have no power when all you're concerned about is getting some approval from another person. That means they have all the power then. And you keep having Black people sit up here and say, love is love, and I'm going to go get me a white person. Okay, well, that just means that's your way of committing suicide. Because it seems like that's the eventual outcome anyway. There's another story that I'm doing on a Black woman who got murdered by, you guessed it, her white boyfriend. But again, Black people have a learning disability. So of course they will look at themselves and say, well, I'm a different Black person and that's a different white person, so it's not going to happen to me. Who cares about the countless times that it actually happened to other Black people who I'm sure didn't think that it would happen to them? But Black people can't look at that and make the connection between these interracial relationships and they're ended up being murdered. They'll just sit there and say, well, Black people do that to Black people too. The difference is number one, that's a Black person who don't have hundreds of years of history oppressing you. You're not sitting in a system of Black supremacy that disenfranchises your Blackness because you're Black. You live in a system of white supremacy. So by dating Black people, you wouldn't be dating your oppressor and then getting murdered by your oppressor and then your oppressor getting off because they live in a system of white supremacy. The fact that that has to be pointed out to Black people says that there's a learning disability. And now we can sit here and ignore it as much as we want to, and we can sit here and say it doesn't matter who they date. We can make dumb statements like that, but the end result is still the same. Black people running around in this circle perpetually, expecting their oppressors and other people to have any respect for them while they move and act and talk as if they don't have respect for themselves. Clearly indicating that there's no respect for yourself, because a person who had respect for themselves would not be doing this. Black people are the only people who are doing this because you're sitting in a system of white supremacy right now. And you can compare it to Asians if you want to. It's not the same. Asians got a power base. You're not going to see a whole bunch of stories like this about Asians and then they don't rise up and do something about it. You're not going to see a story about a white person enslaving an Asian and then they not do anything about it because they have a home country, they have a power base, and apparently their oppression motivated them to unify and become powerful rather than divide and go lay up with their oppressors. They can lay up with white people because they have power to back them. And they have an economy that white people depend on to the degree that they already know if they do be with white people, these things are not going to happen to them. It might happen once, but it's not going to happen too many more times. Because once Asians get wind of it, they're going to do something. Globally, Black people don't do that. Because you can go foreign and you can still see this situation happening to Africans. And I know because I covered the story of the white man that murdered the Nigerian singer and her kids. But rather than face this reality, Black people sit up here and justify these things happening. And they advocate for this group of people. It's simply disgusting. It is disgusting. And I recognize that this is not all Black people, because you have a lot of Black people who get offended and wouldn't even allow these cavelings to be near them. I'm one of them. And I don't think every Black man is sitting up here thinking about cave vagina all day. But we do got a lot of Black people who act like this. And even the ones who are not necessarily in interracial relationships, there's a lot of them who still support it and say it doesn't matter whether you lay up with your oppressors. Black people are the only one who says that. And if we don't change what we're doing, because we can sit up here again, if we're going to talk about white supremacy, then we need to talk about what we do to maintain white supremacy too. How are we complicit in our own situation? Because a lot of this stuff we do, and a lot of these issues that we face, we're causing them. And even if we aren't causing them, we're helping to maintain them. And we need to take responsibility for that, because we can't move forward if we don't. But let me know what you guys think. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.